We're going to take a look and listen to Katie Porter. She is a representative out of Orange County, California, which I happen to live in Orange County, California. And so she's not my representative, but she is in the same county. So she's going to talk about this infrastructure bill and the strategy moving forward. And so Mitch McConnell, a couple of days ago, I put a video out with Mitch McConnell calling on the president basically and saying, look, we need to have this first infrastructure bill go through and then we can work on the second, not do them in tandem. But it looks like the strategy from the Democrats at this point is they want to do it in tandem. So we're going to hear that strategy from Katie Porter. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please hit the like button. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look and a listen to Katie Porter. Here we go.
Working backwards from what I just reported, what can you tell us about that meeting with Speaker Pelosi?
Well, I think she made clear that we are wholly committed to passing this infrastructure bill, that we are glad that Republicans are stepping up and committing to delivering for the American people on infrastructure, and that we understand that part of building back better is doing that infrastructure work. But building back better also means making sure that no American is left behind in our economy. So we are going to have to use the reconciliation process to address some of our other economic needs, including things like universal child care, expanding Medicare. There are other paid family leave. This plan fundamentally that President Biden has put forward is about work and workers. And those.
Okay, so there she's talking about some of the different programs in this American Families Plan that they anticipate putting on the table when it comes to this second infrastructure bill.
Things go together like a hand in a glove. And so we have to do both of them. And that is our plan, to move them both forward.
Okay, now she's talking about moving both the first infrastructure bill and the second infrastructure bill, putting them together, not really putting them together, but moving them forward at the same time.
It sounds like the bipartisan infrastructure bill is likely to move first, basically pass the Senate first. And it sounds like what we're hearing through the Hill and so forth is that Speaker Pelosi is saying when the Senate passes that bipartisan bill, she will just hold it, which she can do, just hold it in the House for months before bringing it up for a vote. And she will bring it up for a vote around the time that the other bill, the reconciliation bill, is also ready for a vote. Is that what's going to happen here?
Yes, and as you know, Lawrence, sometimes the House goes first, sometimes the Senate goes first. Mm-hmm. And so what we're talking about doing here is really trying to deliver on what the American people said they wanted when they elected President Biden, which is a strong economy, a globally competitive workforce. And so that means not only investing in infrastructure, everything from roads and transportation to climate resilience, but also investing in the people who do the important work of America. Making sure we're investing in healthcare, making sure that we're investing in childcare, making sure that we're doing that. And so the plan here is to champion this infrastructure bill, to be grateful that it's a bipartisan bill. We hope and encourage Republicans to support the rest of President Biden's agenda.
Okay, now the only danger that I can see in holding this first infrastructure bill is the fact that this first infrastructure bill will bring a lot of jobs to communities. It will help stimulate the economy. So this is one of those situations where if you are going to hold this first infrastructure bill, you better make sure that you move fast with the second infrastructure bill, with that human infrastructure. So you can't take a lot of time, and they want to do it through reconciliation. So this is one of those situations where all the Democrats just need to be on the same page. And so they should be working out the details right now as they're still talking about this first infrastructure bill. That way they'll have that second infrastructure bill ready to go, and you don't have to wait months and months and months to move forward with both bills, because those are jobs that people could have right now. We see what's going on right now when it comes to different states that are taking the enhanced unemployment away from a lot of the people that live in the states. And I think we're up to about 26 states now. So we're in a situation where people need jobs. So the bottom line is they can't hold off too long when it comes to this first infrastructure bill. They're going to have to, once it gets approved in the Senate, they can hold it for a little bit, but they're going to have to get it moving as fast as possible.
And of course, even Joe Manchin says he doesn't expect them to do that. He expects to get them on the bipartisan bill, and then you will have to do the work on the rest. And so were you in the meeting with Steve Ricchetti and the Progressive Caucus today?
Yes, sir, I was.
And so in that meeting, you know that on the reconciliation bill, you're basically going to be negotiating with Joe Manchin and more moderate Democratic senators and try to come to a spot. Where do you think that's how do you think that's going to be arrived at? Steve Richetti's got a lot of experience in putting that together. Did he give you any guidance on this today?
Well, the Biden White House has been incredibly responsive about being in communication with us, about listening to not only the Congressional Progressive Caucus, where I'm deputy chair, but other parts of the caucus. And what we're going to do here is lay out what we want. So we're going to decide on the kind of child care that this country needs to move forward, the kind of paid family leave that we need to move forward, the kind of investment in health care that we need to move forward. Then we will hopefully get buy-in across the ideological spectrum within the Democratic Party to do that and to move forward. And what Senator Manchin said in the clip that you played with this morning with Stephanie Ruhle is absolutely fair. We can't agree to a number without knowing what we're spending that money on. That would simply be irresponsible. If my children say, can I have $5? My first question is, what for? So it's exactly the same here in Congress. It's not about the number. It's about what we're going to be doing to help the American people. And we have to be championing those priorities. And today's conversation with the White House was talking about what those top priorities are and why they're so important in communities across this country.
Okay, so it was important that she said that as far as the top line number. We don't know what the top line number is going to be yet. We need to find out what different programs are going to be offered. And then at that point, then they'll figure out exactly how much it costs and how to pay for it. So she's saying the same thing that Senator Manchin was saying a couple of days ago when it comes to the top line number. Because like I said, interviewers, and I said this in a previous video, the people who are interviewing these politicians, they always want to know what's the top line number because that's the headline. $6 trillion, $2 trillion, stimulus package, $1.9 trillion. They want to know that top line number. But in reality, you need to see the substance first. What's going to be in this bill? And then you can get the top line number from that. And then you can figure out how you're going to pay for it.
Let me imagine a scene where you and Joe Manchin are in a room in a negotiating discussion about the Democrats' only bill in September, when that will start to get very, very real. And you've laid out what's in the bill, but Senator Manchin simply doesn't like the total amount of the cost of the bill, the total amount of the spending in the bill. And he might even be in favor and happy and think everything you're proposing is good, but he just thinks we can't afford to spend that much. What's the case you make to Senator Manchin about the spending number, whatever that turns out to be?
I think there are 2 points to make. The first is the extreme costs of doing nothing in some of these cases. We are simply falling behind as a global workforce because we have failed to invest in things like paid family leave that every other competitor nation has done. And so there is a cost to doing nothing. And I would try to make that case to, my earring just fell off. I would try to make that case to Senator Manchin. The second thing I would try to do is say to him, look, we are going to pay for these things. The president has made clear that he is going to champion a fair tax system. And so, yes, these things are investments, just like the investments in infrastructure. They have a price tag, but we are going to pay for them by having a fair tax system. And the American public, Democratic, Republican, Independent, the kind of district that I represent, they support not just creating jobs, not just supporting workers, but doing it by having a fair tax system. And so we really have to think about what's going to be the net extra spending after we adjust our tax system to be fair.
You seem like someone who's uniquely positioned to kind of negotiate this sort of thing with Joe Manchin, since you're representing a district that was formerly a Republican district. You are obviously surrounded by Republicans in your life in that district all the time. You're not in one of those isolated, protected one-party districts. And so you know his concerns in the politics of West Virginia, which are overwhelmingly more Republican even than your district in Orange County. And that's something that everyone's going to have to keep in mind in any negotiation with Joe Manchin, isn't it?
Well, that is why it is so important about what we are talking about, because things like lowering the age for Medicare eligibility, things like making sure that Medicare covers hearing and vision coverage, things like making sure that no family has to go bankrupt or cannot afford to pay for childcare, making sure that we have paid family leave. These policies are tremendously popular. They are popular across party lines. And so I think this is a really important case for my colleagues in the Democratic Party across the ideological spectrum to be listening to their communities. Because as you often know, where the party is in Washington, D.C., is not always where the people are of this country. And that's who we need to be responsive to in this package.
And so that was Katie Porter. So now you hear what the strategy is. The strategy is that they are going to hold this first infrastructure bill until they get some type of an agreement on the second infrastructure bill before they move forward with both bills. So that will be the strategy. Now let's talk a little bit about Mitch McConnell, because Senator McConnell, he is known for doing this. He's known for holding things. And we saw this happen with the stimulus package. So on May 15th, now this is after the CARES Act. The CARES Act was the first stimulus check. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, was talking about, look, we need to move forward with another stimulus package. And she got one approved. She got one approved in the House. She sent it over to the Senate, and guess what? It sat in the Senate. And at the time, Mitch McConnell was the majority leader. He never addressed that package. Never addressed the package. And that's why we had to wait from May 15th until December of last year before we saw anything, because he would not address that. And then when he did address a stimulus package, he created his own stimulus package. He didn't go from what they were looking at when it came to Nancy Pelosi's stimulus package. So now he's getting a taste of his own medicine in the sense that he held off a stimulus package, and now it looks like Democrats are going to hold this infrastructure bill, and I guess you can say hold it hostage while they wait and move forward with the reconciliation bill and then put them together. So he's getting a taste of his own medicine. He realizes he doesn't have the power to stop it. All he can do at this point is just cry out to the president and say, we need you to not allow this to happen. But it looks like it's going to happen. Now, like I said, the danger that Nancy Pelosi faces right now is if she holds this infrastructure bill, the first infrastructure bill, if she holds it too long, that is dangerous, because that is going to hurt our economy. So we know this infrastructure bill can help our economy, but if she holds it too long, it's going to hurt our economy. So we're going to have to see how they maneuver this, and maybe that holding it a little bit will really invigorate these politicians, at least the Democrats that want to do this budget reconciliation. It will at least allow them to say, okay, look, we have this first infrastructure bill. We need to get that out as soon as possible. So let's get this done. Let's work on the second infrastructure bill so we can move that forward. Now, I want to know what you guys think about this. So let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.